Yo, what's going on, guys? The Kitty G on EGTV. How you guys doing? I got Gunnar Souls with me today. We got a big show to talk about. We got a lot of things to discuss also. We're going to be discussing the Super League. We're going to be discussing the whole situation with Roman Abramovich. We're going to be discussing a little bit of Martinelli. Sorry, not Martinelli. You tripped me out with the Martinelli picture behind you. We're going to be discussing Mavropanos and Guendouzi sale. There's also a Gabriel Jesus link to Arsenal, Bukayo Saka's new contract, Mikel Arteta possibly getting manager of the month. We're also going to discuss possibilities of Arsenal being linked to two superstars, but it could be that neither of them are going to join Arsenal, of course. Chelsea's Roman Abramovich sale, how does it affect Arsenal? Long story short, there's a lot of things to discuss, but we're going to do that all today on today's show. I'm going to make this show a call-in show so you guys can call in and give us your takes also. Big up to Lenny. Condolences to your fams, bro. I seen your message that you put on the last video. My condolences to you. I know COVID's been taking a lot of people's lives lately, and this is just another situation where that I feel very sorry for you, man. And hopefully your family and everybody's pulling through. Big up to everyone. Put your comments in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think about everything going on right now. And yeah, let's get started. Gunnar Souls, what are you saying?
I'm good, man. I'm good. What are you saying?
I'm good, man. It's been last time we spoke to you, we were talking about Lokonga shouldn't be starting, and you know what? You were proven right, but not about El Neni, but like the Lokonga not being ready yet. You still questioning Lokonga nowadays, or you're happy with the fact that
I've never questioned Lokonga. I've always said that for me, it's all about partnerships, and for me to have Partey and Lokonga in the same sort of in a double pivot just didn't work for me. I think the roles needed switching or something systematically needed changing in that team for them to complement each other. And that's all it was. And the reason why I said El Neni is because if we're looking at profiles to Xhaka, he's now taken up a whole new role of an advanced 8. And if we're playing Lokonga in that role, maybe it works. But in the roles that we were playing, I think El Neni defensively just gave us a bit more solidity. But look, we've come a long way from there, and I think whoever plays is pretty much putting a shift in now.
Okay. I hear you. And then let's go straight into it, man, because there's so much stuff to discuss today. Let's just go straight into it. Do you think Mikel Arteta turning this around? How do you feel about Mikel Arteta now? Because opinions of Mikel Arteta has changed dramatically over the past, I would say, 6 months, from where we were after we played Man City to where are you now? Because he seems destined to be winning manager of the month this month, where he went 3 for 3. We have no questions about his security in the job. It seems to be everything is on the up for Mikel Arteta. So what's your take on the whole situation, and where do you stand with Mikel Arteta right now?
I think the projection for him, being the way that he is, was always there. Like, even if you look at, and I know people hate this analogy, but from Boxing Day up until now, for over a year, if you look at expected points or even points accumulated, we're averaging about 1.8 to 1.9 per game, which is actually like the second to third highest within a year window. Now, of course, we're not good enough to sort of be league winners at the minute. We've still got a few quality issues, and there are things in terms of our squad bringing a plan B on and stuff like that, which we need to develop. But if you think about the turnaround of squad in terms of player turnarounds, he's had to get rid of a lot of deadwood in terms of old regimes and players on high contracts, and kind of restructuring that wage bill whilst churning out and competing, against big teams. Like, if you think about it, we were arguably on paper 6th to 7th is what a lot of people said on paper we should be finishing, and for him to be even in the conversation to be in the top 4 race. So whether we finish top 4 is a different argument and a different question to ask. But at the moment, he's beating teams he should be beating, and convincingly now doing that as well, in terms of how many shots we're getting, how dominant we are in possession, and the style that we're playing. And one of the biggest sort of narrative changes for me was the Wolves game. He never came from behind and won a game, and he did it against arguably one of the hardest teams to go down against. We're at the second or the third team in the 3 seasons I've been in the Premier League to ever do it, and that's a big achievement. Not only did we change that narrative, but we've got a squad of players who want to play for a manager, who want to play for the badge. Like even Pepe, just having a child, goes, I still want to play. And for me, that's the biggest difference for me. And I like what he's doing. And even I got a lot of criticism because at the beginning of the season, I even said the biggest problem that Arsenal have is they've not got that second gear. If we're looking at Arsenal and the fundamentals of Arsenal, we play similar to Man City in terms of kind of the underlying metrics to what we play. But the only problem is we don't have sort of a João Cancelo who can take it up a level. We don't have, a Grealish, or we don't have a Riyad Mahrez or a Sterling who can go from, okay, we need a goal, let's turn the levels up to get that goal. And a lot of criticism, people are like, no, because they weren't looking at how we played and what our progression was. It's Mikel Arteta at the realm, and we're Mikel Arteta out, so we can't even praise him for the things he's doing good. I think for people who've seen the style of what he was at least what he was trying to do, seeing that this isn't any surprise, but it was when it happened. So for me, it's brilliant because he's finally starting to put those performances and those matches on the pitch rather than just saying it, rather than just being a PR merchant. He's now putting that into action, and it's not just words anymore.
There you go. Nigerian Englishman has joined us. How are you, my guy? You're on mute. Okay, he's still on mute, so I'll let him sort that out. I don't know what's going on. My connection, bro. Yeah, just jump out, jump back in. We'll get that sorted out in a second. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna throw the link in the chat so you guys can jump in and join us. I'm not gonna lie to you, Gunnar Souls. As you said about Mikel Arteta, a lot of people have turned around. He has proved some people wrong, but yet for some people, he still hasn't proved anything because they still need to see him get top 4. They still need to see him continue the level of success. They still need to see him continue the good form. And a couple months is not going to turn it around for some of the people who have been staunchly Arteta out or staunchly that Arteta is not good enough. And at this moment in time, I hope that he can turn some heads and I hope that he can change some opinions of people. But at this moment in time, I still think there's still a lot of questions to be asked about Arteta, and fair dues to some people who still ask those questions, because I think personally you can change your opinion. There's nothing wrong with changing your opinion. But hey, I want to ask a Nigerian Englishman, what are you saying about Arteta now, man? How are you feeling about Arteta? Because I remember there was some times where you might have been a little iffy. You there, bro?
To be honest, do you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, to be honest, at the start of the season, after the window that we had, I made a decision that, you know what, I might not necessarily back the transfers he made 100%, but he's made these decisions and he's stuck by them. So do you know what? I'm just going to get behind this project because he's confident enough to go against what everyone's saying in the press and what some of the fans are saying, and he's just convinced. I goes, you know what? You got to prove it now. And what he's done with every single player that we brought in is that he made the right decisions. So my target this season was top 6. We're definitely way on track for the top 6. Regardless of how we're doing, he's a young manager. We've got a young squad, but I still believe top 6 definitely. But we're in a great position right now, so we can challenge for the top 4. But we can challenge. I'm not ready to say that we're definitely going to make it, even with the situation we're in personally.
Okay, I understand. Now, Arteta is going to win. Arteta could be one of the people who wins Manager of the Month. But if you were to pick a Player of the Month for this month, who would it be? Because for me, there's some candidates. You have Gabriel, who scored some goals and had some good defensive performances. You have Thomas Partey, who's been a colossus in the midfield. You can mention Ben White also, since our defense has been so good. You can also mention Odegaard. So from those players, who's your Player of the Month for you guys? Because this has been an interesting one. We've won all 3 games. I think personally, Odegaard has been the most impressive player in my opinion, and has turned a lot of opinions also. But where do you guys stand on this right now? And who's the standout performer for the month of February? I'll go to you, Gunnar Souls.
Yeah, for me, it's Odegaard. In terms of the turnaround, he's been instrumental in terms of how we build up an attack. And one of the things that goes under the radar, even when he was having those poor performances or not living up to the name was he still pressed, and he's one of the pressing leaders and covers the most ground in most games. And when you look at progressive passing, the only thing I want Odegaard to now do just after this month is take a bit more risks. I don't need your passing accuracy to be at 89% every game or 90%. Sometimes, you know what, having a 60% can be good, because playing those risky passes that may not get through but can also open up an opportunity from nothing is what I need to start seeing him do. But obviously that comes from confidence, that comes from knowing your teammates and knowing the system and believing in what you're doing. And I think he's only going to get better from here. And when you're looking at even set pieces, have improved massively. And you know, that's for me why I'm going to give it to him. Out of the 3 games, he's been a standout performer in every single 3, whereas in some games, like Partey, for example, against Wolves, he turned it around for us, you know, but it was one game, you know, whereas with the other 2 games, he had a good game, whereas with Odegaard has stood out in all 3 games for me. Ben White is a good shout, but for me, again, you know, he's had 2, I'd say, good performances where he's bailed Gabriel out of situations, but then again, I've got to give it to Odegaard just because he's been consistently an 8 for me. Every time I've done player ratings, I've given him at least an 8. So I've got to stick by it and go, he's been the player of the month for me.
Okay. People in the comment section, let me know who's your player of the month. Is it Martin Odegaard? You could pick Bukayo Saka. You could pick anybody. Let me know who your player of the month is. Sahal, how you doing?
I'm good.
Souls, you haven't been here. Sahal has completely changed. He's a new man. He's a new man. He's
No. I'll take it out, man. I don't care. I'll take it out. He needs to go. He needs to go, man. He needs to go.
Hey, Sahal, what are you saying? How you talk to me about player of the month?
Arteta needs to pack his bags and leave tomorrow. But let me tell you, you know what crazy shout is? And you guys are gonna call me crazy. Cedric kind of deserves a shout. And I'll tell you why. No one expected Cedric to be this good in replacement of Tomiyasu. But honestly, I don't think he has put a foot wrong. Since he's been replaced Tomiyasu, he hasn't put a foot wrong. So crazy one. Left field, player of the month option for me would be Cedric. I don't believe I'm saying this, by the way. And his performance is
most improved for sure.
His performances have been. I don't believe that's Cedric, by the way. That might be someone else. But honestly, that guy, he turned it around, man. This month has been a brilliant month for him, and Odegaard as well. He's probably going to win it.
I don't think you get player of the month for just doing your job. You have to stand out,
man. But for where Cedric was, for where Cedric was to where he is now, oh my God, Igal is heaven and earth. It was like the difference, yeah. Like at least we can rely upon him. Before, we couldn't rely on Cedric at all.
This was 2 games. You're not wrong. He did really well.
He has not put for wrong, man. He is not. I know he's just doing his job. He's been doing his job, but if you think about the Cedric that we all didn't want Cedric. It's not even one Arsenal fan wanted Cedric out of the pitch that long, long.
Okay,
not one.
Let me just stop you there. One touch TV. What are you saying?
I would like to say Thomas Partey because he has played very well this past month, but I'm gonna agree with Gunnar Souls. It's Odegaard because I wouldn't lie to you. In the summer, my laptop is messed up. I'm using my phone right now.
No worries.
You want to see my face? Next time. For sure.
I'm like, oh, this guy has a good setup. I'm like, why is he not on camera? What's going on? Like, I get Sahal and Moss. They're just calling in, but like, nah, it's cool.
Alright. I'm not in my normal setup next time for sure. But I think Odegaard, because I remember in the summer, I was one of the people that was saying we should have paid money for Maddison. Yeah, so I've got to eat my words. I definitely thought 30 million, can he hit the ground running? Because he showed some flashes last season, but this year, what I love about him the most is he doesn't hide. He never hides in any games. He might not be having the best game in some situations, but he never hides. Always looking for the ball, always ready to get the ball and create something. And especially in the Wolves game, immense, absolutely incredible in that game. So I can't look past Odegaard. Definitely Partey done very well. I would have liked to say Gabriel because he has been solid, but that mistake in the Wolves game, I just can't forget it. So it has to be Odegaard.
Moss, what are you saying? Who's your player of the month? Moose.
There you go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, bro.
Yeah, for me, it's Martin Odegaard because he's world class. He's just, I just like him. He's world class.
Martinelli got a red card and
No, Martinelli, Martin Odegaard.
Martin Odegaard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I heard Martinelli. I was like, what?
Yeah, he's class, man. I actually like him.
Okay,
and for me, we're gonna make top 4 because I just have a feeling we will, and we're not gonna flop it.
I hope so. I hope so. You know what? That was going to be one of my questions. So since we're talking about top 4, let's go into the top 4 race and talk about our next 5 games and everything. Guys, how's everyone feeling? I'm very confident that we're going to get top 4. I'm very confident that we could be in and amongst the top 4 teams at the end of the season. I feel like we are currently the favorites. What are you saying, Gunnar Solskjaer? How do you feel about the top 4 race right now?
I'm a lot more confident than I was because coming to the back end of the season, if you're looking at our next sort of 14 games, we've got 4 against the top 6 and 10 against oppositions outside of the top 6. So you're looking at a potential 30 to 4 points, really, the difference being. And what's easier, you can drop against. The thing is, we need to be consistent against teams outside of the top 6 to get top 4. And I know that sounds a bit of a back, but to get into a title challenge is when you need to be beating the top 4 or the top 6. And I'm more confident now that we can beat them and be consistent against them, even if we drop points. If we look at Man United, for example, if we look at Spurs, we're now capitalizing on their bad fortunes and their bad performances. Whereas with last season and I'd say start of this season, we weren't losing games, but we were dropping points in terms of drawing to Brighton, Crystal Palace, and then going further on to dropping further points, and we weren't capitalizing on opportunities that were presented by Spurs and United to create a huge gap. But for me, the Wolves game is a big turning point because the first time we've gone from behind to win a game, and it's only going to give them belief if they're down again. They're going to be like, right, okay, things are against us. Even in the last 10 minutes, we can turn this around. And Arteta has made a lot less stupid decisions in terms of his starting 11, and he's been more consistent with it. He's got his 11, he's going to play his 11, and he's only going to change it if he feels there's something to change. Like, for example, against the Wolves game, brought Cedric off and brought Nketiah on, make it a bit more expansive and go for it. And he's starting to work with a plan B within his squad. He's starting to get a plan A together, and he knows when to switch it up. He's got a Pepe who can come off and be lethal. He's got an ESR who can come off and get a goal, or Martinelli, vice versa. He's got ESR that can go into the 10, give a different dynamic to an Odegaard. He can play this 4-3-3. So he's starting to now build different systems for different games to suit different narratives. And that's, for me, what we now need to start seeing. If he goes and does this stupidness he did last season where he started changing too much, then we're going to be in a heap of trouble, and top 4 could be, an impossibility rather than a reality. So for me, I'm confident because I'm seeing less bad decisions and more good decisions being made. That's why I'm a bit more confident. And the oppositions, we've only got 4 top 6 oppositions and 10 against teams that we should realistically be beating and not losing to. So I'm more confident in that area.
There you go. Tyreek's joined us. Englishman has his kid on. Big up. Just before we go any further, guys, do me a favor. 27 of you guys in the chat, smash that like button. We can definitely get more of you guys in here chatting about the Arsenal. And you know what? I'm going to change the question because it seems like you guys don't like the question that I put in the poll. I put a question: Does Chelsea's sale affect Arsenal? And it seems like no one really gives a shit. So we're going to move away from that topic. Tyreek, talk to me about top 4. What are you saying? Are we favorites? Can we get it?
Yeah, definitely. Because Gunnar Solskjaer, you've hit the nail on the head when you said that we're beating the teams outside of the top 6, and that's what you've only needed to do to make the top 4. It happened under Arsene Wenger. How many times was we getting slapped by the teams above us in that are fighting for the league titles, that are even were in and around the top 4, but because these teams were dropping points against the teams they're expected to beat, it makes you drop out of that race. So definitely we're in the favourites, because I think we're the best team, we're the most cohesive team in terms of quality and balance. I see West Ham, they have that cohesion, they have that team. Like, these things matter in football. It's the intangibles, and that's what's pushed West Ham to the level they're at. And then when we look at the opposite effect with a Manchester United, who have the quality players, who individuals who, if he was putting them in combined 11s, they would fit all in. People would argue, but on the day, this and that. But as a team, that's the problem. That is the issue. And we can show that. And we've got that little bit of quality in front of goal that the likes of West Ham don't really have. We can score off set pieces. Gabriel is in there. When Tomiyasu comes back, I'll expect a goal before the end of the season from a set piece in particular. I mean, Thomas Partey scored one before against, was it Villa? So that says it all, really. So set pieces is a massive factor in the league. And that's also to Man United's detriment as well. So if you can defend and score from them, you'll be a threat, and you'll always have that goal-scoring threat. So I think we can edge ourselves over the line, even without contemplating the games in hand. I've excluded them. Even if I say we lose all 3, I still think we can finish top 4.
Okay, Nigerian Englishman, take it away. Top 4. What are you saying?
Top 4. Look, with me and Arsenal, I've seen this movie a lot of times. So I want to say, take it 90 minutes at a time, because at the end of the day, as much as we're doing well right now, we have a tendency to go on like maybe a bit of a weird run of bad performances. Maybe we could pick a couple of losses in there, a draw, because we have a young and inexperienced side and a young and inexperienced manager. With that being said, we're doing well right now. As long as we stay injury-free, which is in our history, how many times have we done that? But hopefully, as long as we stay injury-free, there's always a shout. Because like everyone said, I thought Spurs were in the running because they have the best manager out of the 3 between us, Man U, and Spurs, I think, right now, in Conte. But he seems to have messed up because they're just Spurs at the end of the day. So I think I like West Ham, and somehow they lose games, but are always in the mix. I don't know how they do it. Every time I look at the table, and I see West Ham always in the mix. But I think they're going to drop off towards the end. I think it's realistically for the top 4, as much as I don't want to get too excited, it's between us and Man U. And they do have the better squad in terms of game changers that could just affect the game for like 15 minutes and they just score 2 or 3 goals. They can definitely do that with the game changers they have. But we are a better team currently. There's more chemistry between our team currently. I'm not ready to say it.
I'm getting some static from your mic. Are you using your headphones as your earpods as mics?
Yeah, I'm using my earpods right now.
I think there's something with StreamYard where it doesn't work well when you're using your earpods. Do you have a corded? Well, I'm sorry, I'm asking for too much. Don't worry about it. Just mute yourself when you're not speaking. It makes it easier. Okay. Go ahead, Sahal. You're next, and then I got a little commercial break for you guys.
Yo, guys, I hate to say it, and it's gonna sound a bit negative, but I do agree with Gunnar from Nigeria. I do agree, and I was thinking about this long and hard. Right, you look at the top 4 race. I think it's much closer than people realize. I think Tottenham are still in it. I know they look down and bad, but the points, they're not that far behind. Even though we pretend Tottenham are in the crisis, it feels like they are, but the points tell you something else. United are above us on points. Since Ratnick came in, they haven't lost. And I know you can say, oh, look at the team chemistry, look at the players and what's going on there. But sometimes not losing a game will keep you in the top 4 race, right? So as long as they keep not losing games, they will stick around, right? And we got our own problems as well. So if you factor everything in, I think this will go down to the wire.
Okay,
And
let me
that's what
just
we're
say
gonna
this,
say.
Sahal. Let me say this, Sahal. So I made this TikTok the other day, and it shows you the chances of Arsenal getting into the top 4. Check it out. So as you can see, that's the percentage chances. West Ham have 3%, 13% for Tottenham, 26%, 23% for them, and 61% for Arsenal. That's what gives me confidence that we're going to get top 4, in my opinion, guys. But do you think we can do it? So yeah,
Yeah, that thing I don't see. This what I mean. The 61% thing, I can't believe it, because that is saying, what it's trying to say is that we keep our form until the end of the season. That's
no,
what it's trying to
it's
say.
basically
So-
putting into a factor the games played, the games that we have, and the average points for the entire season, not current form, the average points picked up throughout the whole season. So based on our current form, obviously we would pick up every point. But if it was based on the entire season's form, then it's an average points for the season. If you really think about it, average points from the season since the first 3 games, bro, we have a better record than Chelsea.
I know we do. I know we do. But what I'm saying, a lot of things change.
I like the double advocate that you're doing, but I get it, bro.
Look, a lot of things change. 61%, it might be 100%, right? But guess what? There's still
We
games
still
to
have a
play.
1% chance of getting relegated.
No. Even I understand, but there's still games to play, and that's what I'm trying to say. Egal, 61% might be. It might be 99%.
Okay, let me tell you something.
It might be
So,
99%.
one second,
But
one
as
second,
long as
Sahal.
there's games to play,
Sahal,
I
one
ain't
second.
counting any other team out of it just yet.
1 second. Our next 5 games, guys. Let's go into our next 5 games instead. Because if we actually look at our next 5 games, we have a favorable run, even though we play Liverpool in this time, in comparison to a Manchester United who play Man City, who play Liverpool, who play Chelsea. We don't have as bad of a run. So I'm going to tell you guys who we play in our next 5 games. In our next 5 games, we play Watford, Leicester, Liverpool. After the Liverpool game, it is Aston Villa, Crystal Palace. Let's be honest. It sounds like a very favorable run. Am I wrong?
And especially if you compare it to Man United's for their next, even their end of the season.
But you know what? The Man United thing, though, like, I don't know why. I just see it as they're going to perform well in these games,
Bro,
games. I
that's
don't
your
know
heart.
why.
That's your heart speaking. That's their head will tell you something different. Even if you just look at this season, how United have performed in those big games, there's not going to be too much changing. And that's what I just want to add to Sahal when he's saying, yeah, I understand what you're saying. Games are still to be played. But how much can really change from now until the end of the season? Apart from, as Nigerian Englishman said it, injuries. That's the only thing we can look at. And hey, these are the teams who have their full fit squads and they're losing to Middlesbrough. They could still pick up injuries and even fall off even worse.
Has the Liverpool game been rescheduled already?
Yeah,
That's the
16th of March. 16th
Yeah,
of
so
March.
what are these people talking about? The game was postponed and now it's been rescheduled. So that's why I'm talking about it. Because
When's the
someone in the
Spurs
comment
game?
section was wondering why I'm talking about the Liverpool
That's
game.
not been announced yet.
It has been.
Yeah.
No, the
the
Spurs game.
Spurs. But Liverpool's game against United has been postponed. I think that's what he might be talking about because they made it through into the FA Cup.
Oh, okay. So yeah, Gunnar Souls. Let's talk about it now. What are we saying? Yo, where'd my guy go? He disappeared again. The next 5 games, I'm going Watford, Leicester, Liverpool, Aston Villa, Crystal Palace. I think that's a favorable run. Realistically, the only game where I could see us dropping points guaranteed is against Liverpool. The other 4 games, I'm looking at that as maximum points. As try your best to get maximum points. I'm not trying to jinx it or anything, but this does look like we are still in a favorable run.
100%. I think the only game I don't really know which way it can go is Liverpool. If we're looking at Watford, they're on poor form. We should be capitalising on, the opportunity of taking down a team that's struggling at the moment. And especially with the way that we're playing, in the way that we can press them and be aggressive, it's only going to make it worse for them. And we can have a high-scoring game against them. Leicester, again, another team that's struggling, we usually play well against. And it's at home, which we've had a really good run of form this season. And we've sort of brought back the Wenger form at home, where we're virtually the hardest team to beat at home. And it was just the away form that really let us down. Then when you look at Liverpool, it's at home. That can go either way. That could be a draw, win, or a loss. Like that, I couldn't tell you which way that goes. Villa, I'm confident will beat, and Palace, we should be beating, especially if you're looking at how they're now playing. They're really struggling to pick up results, and they're only picking them up against teams below them. So that there are opportunities there. And look, it's not always going to be easy to get 3 points in the games you're always expecting. There might be a surprise result like a Villa draw or something, but again, it's about consistency. It's about picking up the points. If we're looking at, the other teams, capitalize on those opportunities. Don't let that get to you. The only game in here that I will not even accept, but I would understand dropping points in is Liverpool. The rest of them, I'll have to see the performances to think, okay, why did we drop points? It can't be those mistakes again. It can't be that Gabriel moment or a Saka moment that loses us a game. That's what will disappoint people. But it's favourable. It's, even if you look at the rests in between, the only one is Leicester, Liverpool, then Aston Villa. Other than that, we've got enough of a break to rest the players, especially someone like a Bukayo Saka who does seem to be fatigued week in, week out. So it's a nice run of fixtures where we can rotate, but also keep a strong lineup.
Yeah, we got journalist in Mohammed. Mohammed, how are you doing? Long time. You doing well?
Hi all. Hi guys. Hi, how are you? How are you, Tarek?
I'm doing good, man. Mohammed, talk to us. How are you feeling about Arsenal right now?
Well, we are in the right path, but of course, every match is crucial. We have 13 or 14, 13 matches left, I think. Yes. 14, yes. So every match, I think it's like a cup final. We must fight for every match. Of course, we have the crucial one, the crucial few ones of them against Spurs, United, Chelsea. Of course, against Liverpool. Liverpool, I think, is the toughest match for our schedule, but we must fight against Chelsea, Spurs, United. Against Spurs and United, I think you can say it's a must-win games. It's a must-win games against United and Spurs. And of course, we must be stable, consistent during our performance and results. We don't want to suffer like Wolves match. We got the winner in the 96th minute, so it was suffering. Every Arsenal fan was on their nerves.
You know what? It was suffering for the rivals because they wanted us to drop points at the end of the day.
No,
enjoyed it.
Inshallah we'll continue. But as I told you, I think we must concentrate on every match, not looking on the matches far away. Every match we play is like a cup final. Now the concentration on the Watford game. It's a tough game. Watford got a point against United. Defensively, they are improving. Up front, they have also few good strikers. So we must be concentrate. We must be clinical in our chances. And this was not happening against Wolves. So we suffered during all the match. And we must not commit any error like Gabriel error. We must not give the opponent any gifts during these matches, these 14 crucial matches. So we can be concentrated all the time and clinical on our chances and took the games game by game. So every game we finished, we got the 3 points. We concentrate on the next one. We must do like this.
Yeah, I hear you. So we're just going to move on because I am a little strapped on time. We got a lot of topics to cover, but I'll let you go first on this one. Gabriel Jesus to Arsenal. What do you guys think? Gabriel Jesus is linked to Arsenal today as one of our striker targets. He's been a big link because Mikel Arteta has worked with him in the past. Jesus coming from Man City, Arteta coming from Man City, having worked with him before. I just want to know, thumbs up or thumbs down? Do you guys think this is a good signing, bad signing? Let me know what you think. I'll let you go first, Sahal.
Yo, Igal, you know what, Gabriel, I don't think he would actually fit Arsenal because he doesn't fit City either. They're trying to replace him, and for the same reason they're trying to replace him, we can't have him because he can't play the Pep Guardiola type of 9. He's not that type of 9. He's a 9 that wants to run past defenders. I don't. You know, when he burst on the scene, he was great for City for a couple of months, but ever since then, he's been a bench play basically. I know Aguero's been there, but even when Aguero was not at his best, Aguero was starting ahead of him, right? Honestly, my opinion of him, I think I would like to have him as a bench player, but nothing more than that really. I think we can get better than him, younger than him, and someone that can hold the ball up a bit better, that can play that 9 and bring the other players into play. And that's what we need as a forward guy, a striker. We don't need a striker like him. We can get a striker like him very easily, I believe. I like him as a player, but I don't think he will suit Arsenal.
Okay, I think, Sahal, you might be misunderstanding who he is as a player. I think from what he's done in Brazil and what he's done at Man City, he is a player who is very versatile, can play anywhere in the front three. He's also, when he's playing as a center forward, he's not as effective as Bobby Firmino, but he's basically a younger version of Lacazette. He might not be the best finisher, but he builds up play, and he's a modern center forward that helps you with your build up your attack and get other players into full effect. If we're going to have a 20, 30 goal scoring winger, he's one of the ideal striking options that you should go for. But yeah, just before we go to everybody else, Azan, what's your take on Gabriel Jesus? And welcome. AK.
Evening, Nigel. Evening, everyone. Big up everyone in the chat. Yeah, bro, you know, there's no denying he's a great talent. But I just feel that this season he's underperformed as a striker. But I mean, look, he's got a year remaining come end of the season. You know, I mean, I think maybe we could make some inquiries and, you know, entertain a discussion for sure. I think we could probably get him on a good deal. But hey, you know, I don't know. Arteta would probably have more of an insight, obviously, from his time over there, you know, when he was a part of Pep's coaching staff. Would he be Arsenal's number one choice with the system that we play? I highly doubt. I don't think he's the number one choice. But you know, I guess it's the rumours, so we've got to have a discussion about it. But yeah, for me, as of right now, just him not being on hot form, I would say no. But I guess I'll just have to wait to see to the end of the season and then give a solid answer with my opinion. But as of now,
the reason why I'm laughing is they said Origi's on a free. Go get him, Arsenal. I don't know about that. We got some people.
He's a clutch moment there, though, isn't he?
Some mixed feelings here. But Souls, Tariq, any of you guys saying yes? Just before I go to Mohammed after you guys.
Yeah.
You're saying yes, Tariq? Go ahead.
Go on, Souls. I'll let you take it first.
Yeah, no, so for me, it all comes down to price. He's not going to be someone I start. If I'm going to go for a starter in that mold, it's going to be a João Felix. I'm going to go spend the 70, 80 million and go get a Felix in, just because I think he's a better option out of the two in that same mold. But if you're looking at a Premier League proven player profile that we're looking at in terms of a young Lacazette who's got the legs to go forward, if we're looking at, you know, the reason why we went for Leauge is because he can come deep but then be in the box when the attack is actually built up. And that's what Gabriel Jesus does. As much as people criticize his form now, sometimes a change of scene, a change of, you know, motivation, and sometimes certain managers just suit certain players. And maybe Arteta's just that player that got, you know, Jesus firing and playing. And we know the influence he had on Leroy Sané. And look at Sané now, he doesn't seem to look anywhere near the same player. Even Raheem Sterling's the only one who's really kicked on in that sort of out of the players that we've seen or been told that Arteta's had a big influence on. So getting someone like him, especially Arteta, knowing who he is, and if we're looking at the recruit so far, we've gotten very little wrong. So I trust his instinct, and even if I don't like the profile, I trust Arteta's instinct at this point more than what I'd want. But if we're looking at the player himself, I think he's a talented player who probably just needs a fresh scene, a bit of a fresh. And even when you look at the way we attack and build up, and I do think it could suit him. And especially if we can then go get that winger. For me, an ideal winger, if that contract doesn't get signed, to go and get Ousmane Dembele. That's my ideal winger. Yeah.
Whoa!
I just think
I don't know if I want Peter Griffin. The knee issues every time. Like, come on.
But look, that may be the case, but I do think he's a prolific goal.
Serge Gnabry, maybe I'll take him.
Oh yeah, if he's available, but I think he's going to sign a contract. I don't think he's going to be as available. But I like the profile. For me, he's an energetic, high pressing. He might not be the goal scorer, which is why I'd always say he's a plan B for me rather than a plan A. I'd want a prolific goal scorer as a plan A, so a target man, just because of the way we play. Leauge would have made us title contenders next season for me. And if we had gone and got a midfielder, just because he would have converted those chances, and we would have had a 20 to 30 goal guaranteed striker within the system. But we've missed out on that due to not having Champions League football. But he'd be a nice option, but I wouldn't start him.
I hear you. Honestly, I think Fabian Ruiz is the guy we need in the midfield personally, but we're not talking about the midfield today. Jesus right now, 54% are saying yes in the chat. 46% are saying no. Tariq, convince them why we should sign him.
Bring up the photo, Igal, because look what he's doing. This photo right here. He's scoring goals in the Champions League. Like, he's a Champions League level player. That's what we can see from him. He does score goals. I know he doesn't. This season, he's struggled with injuries a lot of the time, Gabriel Jesus. But if you look at his goal scoring record, 222 appearances for Man City, 88 goals. What's that? Quick, is anyone good? Got quick maths here? How much is that averaging a goal a game into goal ratio? What's that?
No. How many games?
222 divided by 88. What's that? Like every 2.5 games.
That's like 45%.
And that's what strikers are needed now, because this is what football what we're seeing today. The best teams generally don't have a number one goal scorer like that. The goals are spread out. He could score 10 to 15 goals a season, but it's all about the likes of Emile Smith-Rowe, Saka, and he's the type of a player that enables them to score more goals. This is why, I know I'm bringing it up again, but Man United, they're suffering because they've got their number 9, who is sole focus is about scoring. And the way Jesus is, he can play as a 9, he can play, but he's not as like an old-fashioned 9. He can play across the whole front 3. And I think that's what's important for these players. And Aslan...
What?
Oh man, and Aslan's AK said it himself, that the deal, his contract runs out in 2023. So I think the reason why I'd go for him, Souls, over João Felix is because 1, the Premier League proven factor, and 2, it just makes more sense because I still think we need to buy a lot of players. We still need to get a big overhaul with all the players that we're leaving, that are leaving in the summer. So it makes sense financially to make this deal. And come on, man. Yeah, he's very underrated, and we can't be rejecting. I don't think it's right for us to be rejecting players that are scoring in the Champions League, scoring in the Bernabeu, big important goals. And yeah, I think we would appreciate him if he was at Arsenal. But when you're at Man City, you can kind of get lost in the, with all the stars in there.
Yeah, just before you go, Mohammed, we have a Man City fan here who's going to speak. But Oracle has tweeted, "Big up everyone. Hard no on Jesus. The guy is a backup striker in a team that doesn't have a striker. We deserve better if we can get UCL." That is also another point you can look at. He's not starting in a team that needs somebody to play a false 9, and he's supposed to be ideally some sort of a false 9. So it is an interesting one.
Injuries, though, we got injuries is what's affected him this season. He's still 24 as well, guys. 24, still young.
Okay, so we have 2 yeses, we have 2 nos. Just before I go to Mohammed, there's a Man City fan here. Tell us, Blake, tell us why we should be taking Jesus.
I think you should take Jesus because I think he would improve your front line as a whole. Like he could play in different multiple positions. But now he's playing the right wing because he feels more confident in himself. Seems like at City, and that in the center forward position seems like that you want him to play as. I think as like a link up play, I think he needs to improve more if you want him to link up with like Alexa Saka, whatever, Martinelli, and sort of like that. And then he needs to, I think, clinical wise, again, he still needs to improve. But I think if he goes to Arsenal, let's say, and then links up with Mikel Arteta, I think it would be good management because at City, I think a lot of players like Mikel Arteta when he was like the assistant manager at City. So maybe Mikel Arteta could help Jesus, come back in his career and try to score goals for Arsenal and stuff like that.
There you go. Just before we go, we got Thomas here. Welcome, Mohammed. What are you saying about Jesus? Yes or no for you?
Look, guys,
Jesus.
Jesus is a very good player.
Sorry, Tommy.
Okay.
It's Mohammed's turn. Go ahead, Mohammed.
Yes. Jesus is a very good player. He can score goals. For me, if he will come as a second choice striker, not our first option, not our first choice. Remember that we need two strikers because Nketiah and Laka will leave in the summer for free. So we will need two strikers. If he will be number one main target, no. If he will be the second striker, I'll say yes. We'll bring a number one choice, just more better striker than him, and he'll be the second choice striker. I think he's a Premier League proven striker. He's very good because the map for me, the picture is clear. We need two strikers. Number one, number two, and Balogun will return as the number 3 striker in our team. So the picture is clear. If he will be the number 2 choice striker of Arsenal, I say yes. But number 1 choice, of course, I'll say no, the number 1. Just a point concerning the winger. I doubt that we will go to buy a winger unless we'll sort the future of Pepe. I think Arsenal as a football club and Arteta must take a difficult decision on Pepe next summer. If he will be in our plans for the future, he must play more and more and more. If not, we'll sell Pepe, and then I think we will search for a new winger. But I doubt that we will bring a new winger without finding solution for Pepe's future. If Pepe goes, I prefer one of 3 in the Premier League. The first one now is difficult because of the new ownership.
We're going to talk about wingers in a second, Mohammed.
Just to finish, because I started this point. Forgive me. St. Alan Maxima, number 1. Harvey Barnes of Leicester. Jared Bowen. I think one of the 3. Yes, one of the 3 will be a very good option if Pepe goes.
I definitely agree, Jared Bowen, but I don't think West Ham would sell us Jared Bowen for any less than like 80 million. They're crazy. But yeah, Gunnar Souls, guys, we're going to move the topic on. Tommy, you've just joined us at the end of our Gabriel Jesus point, so I'm just going to move it on swiftly.
Not for me. He's not for me anyway. Jesus is not for me.
No worries. Bukayo Saka is the next point that we're going to be discussing, guys. Bukayo Saka's contract also. Are we starting to get a little worried? Or I'm very confident that Arsenal does not do their contracts in the middle of the season. Arsenal Football Club is a club that does their contracts at the end of the season. And when we signed Bukayo Saka, we were hearing the same questions about him leaving. Martinelli, same questions about him leaving. Emil Smith-Rowe, same questions about him leaving. I am personally not worried that Bukayo Saka is going anywhere at this moment in time. It makes no sense for Bukayo Saka to leave at this moment in time. Arsenal are giving him game time. If he goes anywhere else, he's not guaranteed to start. Where at Arsenal, he's guaranteed to start at this moment in time. And on top of that, if he was to leave Arsenal, with the current game time and us getting Champions League football, he is in a strong negotiation strength to get a good contract with Arsenal. Why would he then go to Liverpool or Man City, where he's going to be a bench option and he's not going to get a strong negotiation strength to get a good contract? So I'm going to start with you. I'm going to start with you, Tommy. Are you worried about Arteta? Are you worried about Bukayo Saka not signing a new contract?
Yeah, I am. If we don't get our act together, he will bounce, isn't it? Like,
No, I'm not asking in a few years. I'm asking this summer.
Yeah, summer. Yeah, because if we don't get our act together, then he can do it in the summer. He could,
Okay.
This is no joke thing. He could if we don't fix up. So yeah, I'm worried about him, but yeah, we'll see.
Okay. What about you, Tariq?
You've hit the nail on the head, Igal, in terms of the best place for him right now. You've got to think, even from the players' point of view and the agency, if they're going to think for their player in the most powerful position that he's at, and that's at his current club, Arsenal. Because if Saka goes to the likes of Liverpool or Man City, which is more than good enough, we know that one. But right now, what can he command from them? Because he would be in a less powerful position because he's not getting over Salah on that right wing. Luis Diaz on the left now with Mane, those types of players. It's going to be a much more difficult route into the first team from there. So even from the agent's point of view, it makes sense to sign his contract at Arsenal. But I hear where Tommy is saying, though, in terms of if we don't buckle up, if we're not there competing for the trophies, which is what Saka is good enough. We've seen it. I mean, he made a Euros final for goodness sakes. You know what I mean? Like as a 19-year-old. So but in this contract, as you said, Igal, he will. I see him signing this one. He loves Arsenal. I've heard it through people that have met him, spoke to him.
Fabrizio Romano said it.
Exactly. Yeah. He feels at home here. He said it himself. I know it's PR and we come out of that, but if that's where, from even the personal point of view, it makes sense. So yeah, I'm sure he will sign, and I have no doubt. Really, I'd be very surprised if he doesn't.
Yeah, I'm assuming Gunnar Solskjaer, we've already spoken about this. You think the same thing? Am I right?
Yeah, no. I'm very confident he signs. There's no reason for not even just for himself. I just think if you look at the project, if you look at when people say Arsenal need to buckle their ideas up, I think they have. I think the past 2 years has shown they are trying, and that's the difference. Even if you take it back to KSC having 100% ownership, the investment's been there. The structure's changed. There's so many things that have changed. Even if we look at, the academy, that's massively changed as well. Hale End has never looked as good as it has. It's been restructured. It's been reinvested in. And the stadium's going to get a renovation, and he's going to be the head of this project. And it's from an agent, from a player perspective, even if you're looking at future, like Klopp is going to leave, Pep is going to leave, that's going to leave a big uncertainty in those two clubs to what's going to happen and what direction they're going to move in. Even if you look at the money-wise, he's going to be a bench option in both teams, or he's not going to start because they rotate that much. If you look at Chelsea, I don't see him going to a London club just because of the rivalry. Just don't think and Spurs is way out the question. I just think the love that he has for Arsenal, he wouldn't do that kind of transfer. And
look, Ramsey didn't even do it. Ramsey went to Scotland instead of coming to Spurs.
Yeah. So yeah, I have no doubt in my head that he doesn't sign. There's nothing to be concerned about. I'm 100% confident he signs.
For Man City, yeah, like he wouldn't start over like Foden and then man, like he wouldn't.
He would eventually get into the team, but somewhere I don't know where.
Nah, even Tottenham, he wouldn't start over.
What? What are you smoking?
Not over Son. Over Son.
No, on the Kulusevski.
He's a right winger, not a left winger.
You're taking Kulusevski over
right winger. Kulusevski. Probably, yeah.
Okay, so take it back then. Anyways,
shut up,
man said Tottenham because Saka would have started at Tottenham. I'm confused. Anyways, Mohammed, as quick as possible, what do you think about the whole Bukayo Saka contract situation?
Yes, I agree with my friends, with the guys. I'm confident. He's our son. He's our boy. He's been raised in Arsenal Football Club. He loves Arsenal. Arsenal loves him, trust him, raised him, made him this new man, this new player, this new high-level player. Everyone supported him in Arsenal, coaching, staffs in the academy and in the first team. So all these reasons, now he's emerging as one of our best players in the first team because Arsenal trust him. Arsenal was patient raising this kid to become a new star like Smith Rowe. So I'm confident that Saka will continue with Arsenal. I don't see any reason why he's leaving Arsenal. Our project now starting, and with the new next summer crucial signing that we will make in the midfield and in the attack that will make us that will take us to the next level with already our stars in the team like Smith Rowe and like Saka and the 6 new signings that we got last summer. So Saka, logic, if you want to talk logic, he will continue. And I think Arsenal next summer will offer him the new contract. Last thing, I think what may help Saka make his decision more easy is Arsenal returning to Europe. Whether in the Champions League or whether in the Europa League, I think achieving one of these 2 goals will make Saka a decision more easier next summer to sign the new contract, as we all hope, of course.
Okay. This is going to be a quick fire round. The way this is going to go, I'm going to bring up a point, and one person can say they want to speak on it, or several people can say they want to speak on it, but not everyone's going to speak on the topics because we're never going to get through everything. If so, okay. So the first topic I'm gonna bring up. You tell me if you think this is fake news, real news, or if you want the player. First of all, Fabian Ruiz. I absolutely want this guy as the Granit Xhaka replacement. I think he's an absolute superstar. I think if he came to Arsenal, he would revolutionize that position, the 8 position for us, because then we'd have Partey as a 6 and him as the 8. And if you guys have me on Twitter, I put up a comp of how good he actually is. And I just think this guy would be a stud if he came to Arsenal. But he's supposedly linked to Newcastle today. Newcastle seemed to be linked to him for a £40 million bid. Do you think this is fake news, real news, or just to push Arsenal to get the player? What do you guys think?
I think it could be real. I think it could be real that Newcastle would be interested in this type of player. For me, I disagree with you here, Miguel. I know I don't disagree with you too much, but that player profile. Yeah, technically he's got the ability, but is he stylistically suited to the Premier League? The intensity, the aggression, the physicality that he does take to play in the Premier League. I'm not saying you have to be.
His close control is of a Santi Cazorla.
But is he 2-footed as Santi Cazorla? I don't know, man. I don't know.
I think Tarek, for me the price is the main point. If it's as we read 16 million, I will take him.
40.
No. I read some reports that it's for 16 or 18 million.
Napoli do not sell for cheap.
Nah,
they are the same people who held Mendy hostage.
If it's for £40 million, I will say no.
Okay. Keeping it moving now, away from this topic, moving on to the next one. I'm going to give this one to Gunnar Souls. Gunnar Souls, we're linked to a winger from Club Brugge. What are you saying? What's his name? Lang?
No, Noah Lang.
Noah Lang. We've linked him before. We're linked him again. Do you think this could happen, or do you think this is still just the agents pushing this? Because this came out of a media in France saying Arsenal would be willing to pay 35 million for him.
I don't know if I want him personally. I just think he's another raw project, and I think we're in the stage where we've got a Martinelli who we're working on, we've got a Saka, we've got a Smith Rowe. I think this is another agent move. I don't see us going in for him, just because if we're looking at the profile of wingers that we're looking at, we're going to be looking to replace a Pepe, and I just don't see him coming in. We'll probably be more on the lines of a Serge Gnabry, a Dembele, a very two-footed, technically impactful winger. That's kind of what I don't see in him. He's not a clinical finisher, and I just think he'd be another Pepe situation where we overpay for a player who doesn't perform to that caliber. He's a good talent, but I just don't know whether he'll cut it to the top level just yet. And he's got an attitude issue as well. If you do a bit of background research on him, he has had problems. I think is it Ajax or something, or one of the Dutch teams anyway. He had an issue there. That's the reason why he's playing for Club Brugge at the minute. So I just don't see him fitting Arsenal or what we recruit. So I think this is just fake news.
Okay. I was gonna go to the Super League quickly, but I think everyone's gonna want to discuss it. So let's just quickly. Do we think the Super League will return? I personally think eventually they will try to make a form of a Super League to return. I think there is going to be something to challenge the Champions League, and the whole point of the Super League is an alternative to the Champions League. They're going to try their best to make something happen. I just want to know: do you think it's going to happen? Yes or no? Not the logistics of it. I've already done a full video on that earlier today if you want to check it out. So, Sols, what are you saying? Do you think it's going to happen, yes or no?
In about 30 years, maybe, yes.
Okay. Tyreek?
Yes, but a bit sooner, I think.
Okay. Mohammed?
I think no.
Okay. Tommy?
Nah, don't like that Super League. Super League, nah, don't need that.
Okay. People in the comment section, just so you guys know, the Super League will be reformatted. Arsenal are currently not in the teams in the Super League right now that they're going to be remaking. And personally, I think it's a smart move because if you can still join it without having to be the original founding members, you don't get all the heat, but you still are in it if they make it. So you guys worry about making it. We'll sit back and relax. If it happens, we'll try to get into it. If it doesn't happen, we were never part of it in the first place. So no harm, no foul, in my opinion. Moving on from Super League. Next, we're going to discuss Matteo Guendouzi. Yes, Matteo Guendouzi is officially sold from Arsenal. So is Mavropanos. Guys, I know Tommy loves Guendouzi, so talk to me, Tommy. What are you saying?
Oh my days. This manager doesn't know how to manage egos because we know he's got an attitude problem, but handle him. We're gonna regret this because I love this guy, bro. This guy, for me, he's better than Lokonga. No offense to Lokonga, he's clear of him. He's clear of the Xhaka, Patina. I love Patina, but he's clear of him. He's clear of Partey for me, in my opinion. I think he's better than Partey for me, bro.
Whoa.
Yeah, I think he is, bro. That's just my. I think he's clear of Partey, bro. I think he is because the guy moves the ball quickly. He drives forward as well. And he's good on the ball. I think for me, he's clear of Partey. I'll take him over Partey any day. But yeah, but this is Arteta. This is arrogant and self-centered. I wish when
okay. Let me just stop you there, bro. You said a lot of things.
It is what it is, man.
just before you go, just before we go on Guendouzi, I also want to let you guys know that Mavropanos also will be sold. The way that these players have been sold, they've been successful loans in which the club that we loaned them out to have played them more than the games that was required to now trigger the buy clause. The president of Lyon has spoken and he said Guendouzi is now officially going to be confirmed as their player in the summer because he's played more than 38 games. Mavropanos, even though they might get relegated, that team is still going to keep him. And I hear everything you said, Tommy, but Tyreek definitely probably wants to respond. What were you going to say, Tyreek?
We got to separate the quality from the player in terms of how does he actually fit in at Arsenal. And yes, it may if a player succeeds at another club, doesn't mean that you've made the wrong decision in terms of selling him. It's in a completely different league also. So just looking at where...
1 second, Tyreek.
Yeah.
It is not a free transfer. It is 10 million this summer coming up. Last summer, they gave us 5 million. Plus, we already made 2 loan fees from him in the past. So altogether, we've made like 25 million on the player.
I think why not saying free him like he's in prison type of thing.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, like free him up. But yeah, that's what you've just got to look at. And Tommy, just look at the situation that we was in when Guendouzi was here. He was only going to be a negative character in the dressing room. We may get a character like that in the future, but where he has to manage a bit more, and Arteta will develop as a manager like that. But he wasn't the right player in terms of the dressing room at that moment in time. At that moment, because we had too much influence. We had so much going on around the team. I just didn't think it was a great dynamic throughout the squad. But talking about the player, I agree with you. His quality. I like the confidence that he's shown when he was playing on the ball, the drive in the midfield. I remember him against Man City. I know we lost the game, but it was class. Man City away. Oh, I agree. I'm all for techie ballers. I'm all for ballers like that who show that bit of edge. However, it doesn't necessarily mean that he's gonna reach the top in his career. I don't think he will because of that, and that's what separates the good from the great. I think he's a good player, but we'll have to wait and see. Oh, Tommy, in 10 years' time,
we know he's got an attitude problem, but a better manager we know how to handle.
Can I tell you something? I'm old enough to remember players that we've transferred out that we freaked out about. Okay,
Anelka.
And a lot of these times when we freak out about players that go, sometimes they don't do as well as we expect them to do. So to say he's better than Thomas Partey, to say he's going to reach the top of the game, these are all assumptions. At the moment in time, we don't know. One thing we do know, he was good while he was with us. There was an issue, and now he's gone. That is the reality.
Yeah, Emery loved him. Emery gave him his first debut, which was good. Like,
there's nothing wrong with Emery.
I wish him the best though. Like,
at this moment in time, the team is performing better even without him. So I know
that, but can I say something? You know, we know about his attitude, but look at Tuchel and Lukaku. Tuchel didn't ship up Lukaku because Tuchel knows how to manage egos.
No, Tuchel actually probably wants to get rid of Lukaku and get Haaland.
Arteta can't, bruv.
No,
let's be honest. He didn't play that most important.
There's a difference between an £8 million player and a £100 million striker. I'm sorry.
I know. We know Lukaku. We know he's shit anyway. But I'm just saying, Tuchel is not going to ship him off. He knows how to.
Let's just move on.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
Mohammed, what are you saying about Jonathan David? Is that a yes for you?
Yes, I think David is a very good striker, and I think next summer he will be maybe our main target. He and Alexander Isak and Calvert-Lewin. I think realistically, Arsenal may go for one of them as our main striker. I love David. I think he's a very good striker that can go levels above, and I think next summer Lille will sell him. Many clubs are looking at him. Concerning Guendouzi, I think it's clear that Arteta not only are building with the Arsenal board project, they are building a culture also. So players that doesn't fit in the new culture, in the new regime, in the new unity that must be in the dressing room will not be in the team. And Guendouzi, his tempered character, I think it was clear that Ozil, we saw what happened with Aubameyang, will have no future. He's a good player. I like him, but it's clear that Arteta.
Let me just stop you, Mohammed.
Will not
bring it back
want him in our team.
One second, just to bring it back to Jonathan David, because I want to move on. We don't have too much time left.
I just want to ask you a question. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Who would you rather take, Jonathan David or Jesus?
I would rather.
For me, as the first striker, David.
I would rather take Jesus because he's Premier League proven. But at this moment in time, we don't know what levels Jonathan David would be able to reach in the Premier League. That's the only reason. But here's the story.
Jonathan David as well. He's a baller. But I'll take
just
him.
1 second. Jonathan David's price. I'm gonna go to Gunnar Souls on this first. Jonathan David has been linked to Arsenal for a while now. Lille has now set their price. It is going to be between the ranges of 37 million to 46 million is what they want. He's currently netted 16 times across 36 games played in all competitions this season, and he's being linked to clubs like Real Madrid. He's being linked to clubs like Newcastle. He's been linked to clubs like Arsenal. I think he's been linked to every single major club who's looking for a striker or looking for attacking options this season. With Lacazette and Aubameyang both leaving, and Eddie Nketiah, we do need a lot of striker options. So would you take Jonathan David at Arsenal? That's the question I have to ask to you guys. And I'm going to just go to you, Gunnar Souls, first. What are you saying? Is it a yes, no, or hard pass?
It's a tough one because he scored 16 goals, but I've not watched a lot of League On recently, especially not Lille anyway. But I know recently his goals have dried up a bit in terms of how consistently he's been scoring. So in a young player, this is going to happen. I mean, 16 goals across all competitions in a season is still good for his age. And even when you look at his physicality and his profile, it's a good profile to have in the Premier League, someone who can be a game changer. He's a very Aubameyang mold, running behind off the shoulder of the last defender. But he's from what I've seen, he's got good aerial ability. I just don't know how good it is. But yeah, I'd say for that kind of price tag, I would be interested in having a conversation just to see what we can negotiate down to. Because if we can get him for like that 37 to 40 million pound mark, he's probably one of the top end choices in that price bracket. So I'd say I'd be interested.
Okay. And people in the comment section, let me know what you think. Who would you rather have? Would you rather have Gabriel Jesus or Jonathan David to Arsenal? ? Let me know which one would you take? Or you know what? We could take both.
I would. Yeah.
Take Jonathan David. Jonathan David for me. Jesus he's not that good, guys. He's not that great, man. Jesus. Nah, not
So
for me.
you
man.
don't rate Jesus at all, do you?
Nah, bro. The guy misses lots. He's not clinical enough. Every time I watch him, the guy just misses it.
Don't every striker do that.
He ain't that good.
Doesn't striker
Everybody misses goals though.
Yeah, I know.
now
He
right
misses
now,
it
it's an open
way
net.
too much. A lot, man. Nah, sorry, guys. Not for me. I'll take Jonathan David. Baller, I'll take him, bro. Jesus, nah, not for me, man.
Okay, no worries. I'm gonna put another question in the chat: Jonathan David or Jesus, and then now just getting down to the bare bones now. This next one is pretty interesting. Right back, would you guys take Jed Spence as a
100%.
Baller.
100%?
Yes, of
right?
course.
Everyone's saying
But
yes.
now the war started. 10 to 15 clubs are looking at him. So if Arsenal really want him, we must act quickly, very quickly.
I thought you said something else then, Mohammed.
I thought you were talking about Russia, Ukraine for a second. I was like, what?
Tomiyasu needs competition, innit? So Spence would be good because Cedric is shit anyway. So Tomiyasu needs competition, and Spence was.
Bro, can you use other language besides just calling players shit? Describe the player.
Sorry, man, but yeah,
You know, guys, the last club that are looking at him are Bayern Munich.
we're looking at Spence, Bayern Munich.
Yes.
Well, Bayern Munich are they're a big club. Why weren't they? Bayern Munich are a top team, man.
10 to 12 clubs now are looking at him.
Hopefully we can get him, man, because Tomiyasu needs competition.
We must act quickly. Spurs are looking at him. Many English clubs and abroad, including Bayern Munich.
Well, Tottenham are linked with him.
Yes, of course. They are
need a
looking
right
at him.
back, 'cause Emerson Royal is awful, man. So they need a right back anyway.
Okay, so everyone's saying yes. We keep it moving.
Yes, of course.
We kept Martinelli quiet when we lost to them in the FA Cup. They kept him quiet.
Okay, this one here is very interesting. Arsenal have been linked to both Joao Felix and Lewandowski. Realistically, I don't think we're gonna get either of them.
Lewandowski's
But
not going to happen.
Here
Not
is-
realistic.
Okay, it's not realistic to get Lewandowski, but it is realistic to get Joao Felix. But
course.
guess what?
No.
Bayern Munich-
Financially, no.
One second. Let me land, bro.
Yes.
Bayern Munich and Atletico Madrid are now going to be doing a swap deal, so both of them are going to be off the table now. That is the rumor that both of them might be off the table, and our hopes of getting Joao Felix, my guy Souls, is out the window if he goes to Bayern Munich. What are you saying?
So
Lewandowski, no, because age profile doesn't match what we're recruiting at the minute. We're looking at sub 25, so Lewandowski wouldn't be someone that maybe 5 years ago we probably would have put big money down for him, but not right now. And in terms of Joao Felix, I still think that's on the table. Just because there's a swap deal on the table doesn't always mean they're going to take it, especially when you look at the financial situations in both those countries, with 51% ownership in fans in Germany and La Liga not having sort of owners but having to bring in investors and raise capital for their clubs. If we put in a 60 to 80 million pound bid, I'm 100% sure Atletico's head will turn, because the money right now for them is more important than bringing in a player. So for the right price, I think you can turn that head and make that player happen. So he will be an expensive signing, but for me, he's a Ballon d'Or worthy talent. If you can tap into that potential, he's a top, one of the world's best talents, and that is how highly I rate him. And the right money on the table, a marquee signing, a project boy, someone for Mikel Arteta to put in the forefront of his project. That is the player you bring in. Someone that's, what is he now, 21, 22? He's young.
22.
Yeah, so he's young. He's hungry. He's got a point to prove. And that's exactly what Arsenal seem to be recruiting at the moment. So I think that can happen. The swap deal may be on the table, but that can easily turn into a signing by Felix.
I rate João Felix. I think he's something I'll be looking at. I see something in him. I see the future with João Felix. I rate him. I think he's a quality player. He scored that good header against Man United. I thought De Gea had no chance of saving that anyway. But yeah, I'll take João Felix.
I'm just gonna. These are speed rounds, guys. So sorry if everyone.
Take your time.
But this topic here is very important, so everyone's gonna get to speak on it.
Felix, we are not now talking about his ability. He's a world-class player. For me, it's difficult because financially.
Mohammed, I've moved on. Let's talk about this topic here. Is Abramovich selling Chelsea good for Arsenal?
Yes, because what it means is that Chelsea will be a self-sustaining club from now on. Because if you're looking at it from a business sense, it doesn't make sense for someone who's willing to invest like Abramovich does to buy Chelsea. Definitely not. However much it costs to buy Chelsea, they could buy a West Ham for much cheaper and invest all of their money and more that they would have used to buy Chelsea. So yeah, for me, it is good for Arsenal because that means that it's going to be a level playing field against Chelsea in the future. I believe. That's just my opinions, though.
I agree with Tarek, because Chelsea will be weaker, will not be stronger like Abramovich era, and the new owner, I think, will not have these achievements and this passion and paying this money. So I think yes.
It's good for us, but a lot of people say Chelsea will be finished when he leaves. But I still think they'll challenge for league titles when they get. I don't think they're done anyway. I think they'll still challenge for Premier Leagues and Champions League places. But it's a shame because I actually like Roman, but it's good for us anyway. But I still feel for Chelsea fans. They're losing the best owner they've had since 2003. So yeah. 19 years.
What do you say in Gunnar Souls?
I think there's two ways to look at this. In terms of who the sale goes to, is it a consortium of investors or is it a sole buyer? Now that plays a huge role. We've had multiple shareholders within the Arsenal structure, and we've seen the conflicts that two big billionaires clashing together for the ideas of how they want to invest. And don't forget, this is going to be a near right a £3 billion or dollar, whatever you want to say, and that is going to be shared risk. It's not going to be one person coming in and wanting to take a risk of £3 billion of their own money. And when you look at it in that way, they may lose direction and focus, but you're also going to get multiple people doing an audit, so there could be a stagnation for at least 2 to 3 seasons until the accounts are set in place. Then you could be looking at who's going to put the money in, because if you're a part owner of a club, you're not going to want to put money in when you're only going to earn 30% or a 10% share of that money. You're going to want to do it if you're a 100% owner when you're fully reaping the rewards of your shares, and that's the reason why I think it could be really bad for Chelsea. But when you look at the reasons to why they need to sell, it's because of financial sanctions from the UK government in terms of Russian-owned entities, and how much of an influence is the UK government going to have on this sale? Then you go into what do Chelsea have? Roman's put them in such an elite position in terms of when you look at Cobham, it's an elite youth academy, and we've seen youth academies take a lot of projects out of the water. It's like shit out of the water, really. In terms of Arsenal, we've been saved by our youth. Look at Barcelona right now in terms of Pedri, Nico Gonzalez, when Ansu Fati returns to that mold, and when you look at Arujo. Gavi, there's Ricky Pools, there's so many players who have helped turn that project around without having to spend a huge financial amount of money. So for me, it's a very difficult one to predict until we find out who the owner is. Because if it's multiple, you've got that scenario. If it's a sole owner, you could be seeing sort of a it's Roman to another owner and it continues as normal. But one thing they need to be wary of is Marina going to be there? Is their structure that they've currently got going to be there? I mean, their recruitment hasn't been great in terms of who they buy. They've just had the luxury of not needing to sell that player for the same amount, like Lukaku for 100 million before they buy another 100 million pound striker. That's what Roman has kind of spoilt them with. And I know people say they're self-sustaining, but if you don't have an owner that's willing to take £100 million risk and lose money and still give you £100 million to buy in one position, that doesn't happen really often. So it's interesting, should I say, but I don't think we have a definitive answer until we know what's happening in terms of the buyers. At the minute, it's looking like multiple owners.
Definitely hear you. Now we're just going to move on to the final take. Everyone spoke on this, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So moving on to the final take. Who's gonna be starting versus Watford? And I think the team picks itself really, but let's just look at it quickly. And we're gonna go to score predictions and we're done. So I've already put some of the pieces that I feel like are gonna start. I think Tomiyasu is gonna play over Cedric. What do you guys think?
I don't know, man.
He's not ready. Egal.
It's been a long time now. It's been a long time.
Tomiyasu is not ready yet.
Okay, so give it
He's
to
injured
Cedric.
at the groin in it, so he might be out for this one, but he might get like 20 minutes if anything.
Okay, so I trust Cedric. Saka starts. Martinelli's back in or Smith Rowe?
This is the
Smith Rowe.
Because
Smith Rowe
Martinelli's
for me.
been poor. Smith Rowe scored every time he plays.
Also, I'll just say, if Smith Rowe wasn't ready, deemed fit, I'd go Pepe over Martinelli.
Yeah, I'll put Martinelli down.
I think Arteta would play Smith Rowe.
Okay.
I think he goes
I already know
Martinelli.
Lacazette's starting. I'm sorry, Martinelli at this moment in time is not yet a center forward. Tommy.
Huh?
Not yet.
He won't play. I think next season. I don't think you trust him as a centre forward just yet.
Yeah, especially if you guys see away from home the work rate that Lacazette has. Lacazette is integral to how we currently play.
I get that, but
everything.
he doesn't score enough goals for me, man. Like a threat, man.
But that's not what the
No, but
Arteta
you know
wants
why
from
he's
centre
like a
forward.
threat? Because he's so tired from working so hard off the ball.
Okay,
but he must deliver goals.
Me, man.
No,
He must deliver goals.
Last game.
No, but you know what it is though? That there's a difference between an individual scoring goals and an individual helping the team score multiple goals. And I think that's where I think the translation's being lost. Lacazette helps us, and he's the sole reason we got 20 goals in that 1 month. And he's one of the reasons why we're building up the way that we do, because he comes in and he helps us build up from the back. And that's that's why people have this love obsession with Pepe, because he guarantees a goal, but he doesn't guarantee the team a goal. If he doesn't score, there's no goal coming, and that's the problem. Whereas when you have a Saka, he helps the team get a goal. Even if he doesn't score, he'll be involved in a critical piece of play that allows someone to score. And that's, for me, why I think Lacazette's important to us.
I totally agree with you on the Laka. Yeah.
So, guys,
I understand that, bro. I understand that. So,
Watford predictions quickly. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I haven't looked at what's going on with Watford lately because I just don't pay attention too much to Watford.
They're gonna go down anyway.
I think they're gonna get relegated. They're
buried
currently
for me.
19th in the league. They have 19 points. They only have 5 wins. They have 17 losses, 4 draws. They're gonna go into this game with Dennis, King, and Sarr up front. Their midfield is gonna be Sissoko, Cleverly, and I forget this other guy's name, Luza.
Yeah,
and then their back 4 is going to be Samir, Kamara, Cartwright, and Nikia. And they currently have some injuries, but no major injuries. Ismail Assar is doubtful. I personally think it's going to be a clean sheet for Arsenal, 2-0 victory, no stress. But what do you guys think from your perspective after the way they frustrated Manchester United? Do you think
they got a good point against them as well? Deserved the point, Watford. They deserved the point.
Yeah, definitely did.
I don't think they did.
Scoreline in the comment section, guys.
Man United battered them, but Man United just ran out of ideas. And Ronaldo's finished.
Nasser, the Premier League review show is tomorrow. The Premier League review show is tomorrow, not today.
Our record at Vicarage Road is not really that great. Like, we ain't won this since 2019, so it's not that good. But I'm gonna go for 2-1.
2-1. Okay.
Yeah, I'll go for 2-1. I think.
What about you, Mohammed?
1-0 Arsenal.
Okay. Thank you, Thomas, and thank you, Mohammed, for coming on.
later,
Really do
man.
appreciate it. Really do appreciate
It's
it.
pleasure to be with you all, Igal, Tarek, all the
Big up
guys.
to you,
It's
my
pleasure. I
Thank
hope many times I will be with you also.
Whenever the link is in the chat, jump on, Mohammed. Love to have you on.
Okay, and Tarek also.
Okay.
Exactly.
Tyreek, you're next. Thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I think it will be 2-0 to Arsenal. I do see us keeping a clean sheet. That if the fact that Man United created so many chances but didn't take them gives me positive hope, because they're not a very cohesive team or working machine right now. I think we'll grab this one 2-0. It won't be easy at times. We'll struggle. We'll show that a little bit, if Sar's fit, if not Dennis, they've still got quality players, but 2-0, I think.
There you go. Big up, Tyreek. Thank you for coming on. Guys, go check out Tyreek Talks. As you guys know, the name of his channel is right there. It's basically your name on the screen right now. Gunnar Souls, go ahead. What were you going to say before we go?
Oh, it's tough, isn't it? Because a clinical Arsenal finishes this team like 4-0. The Arsenal that we've seen recently where we've kind of scuffed our chances, I think this will be a comfortable win, I'd say. I'm going to go 2-0.
You're going to go 2-0? There you go.
Easy
I'm
clean
also
sheet. I
going
mean,
2-0.
especially if Sar's out, that's an easy clean sheet.
Look at that,
I'm
3-2
also going to
nils.
go 2-0. We got some points here. We got 2-0 here. I agree, Igel. At the end of the day, the coach tells you to defend as an attacker and not sit in the box. And there you go. Definitely, Arteta is telling him to do what he's doing, and that's why we're successful. Some people saying play Smith Rowe. I put Smith Rowe in the team. Did I not? Not Martinelli. I put Smith Rowe in the team.
You put Martinelli.
Yeah,
Did I?
You put Martinelli.
Yeah, I did. I think Martinelli's more safer because Martinelli played last game and Smith Rowe coming back from injury or COVID. So you never know with COVID. But yeah, have yourselves a wonderful day, guys. This has been going for an hour and 25 minutes. You guys are absolute legends. 61 people in the chat right now. There's only like 50 likes. So hit those likes before you go. And out of Jonathan David and Gabriel Jesus, 29 votes, 52% say Jonathan David. So Jonathan David is the winner for the final poll of the day. But yeah, you guys have yourselves a wonderful day, guys. We're out of here. EGTV, you already know.